Hello, Mr. Heap here, and today we're going to continue on this. One thing I didn't like last time around, it's still saying loader shield. So we want to do something similar to what we did with the computer, and we want to check to see if the player's loaded. And we'll say set that equal to 0, and if player loaded equals 0. If that's the case, we'll tab that over and we'll type that. Now I'm going to copy and paste this just to save some typing, and because we're going to do the same thing, but if player loaded equals 1, then we're going to ask, we're going to do shoot or shield. So now it's going to change based on what we say. Now we have to figure out when we want to change the situation. So we can say if the player's choice, if player action equals load. So if they choose load, we can print loaded, just to tell them that it's loaded, or we can say player loaded, so we can keep track of who's getting loaded. So player loaded, and then we want to say load player loaded equals 1. So then, so if they pick load, it will come up, and now player loaded equals 1, and then it will read the second one. Now we can do the same thing, but with the computer. So I'm going to copy and paste this. So if the player action, now we're going to say if computer action equals load, then we're going to say computer loaded. And for this one we just said load. I probably should have called it computer loaded. That might be tricky in a bigger program to see what's happening. Now let's see now if it will change it. Now we'll move it up to 1. We're not moving it back to 0, so it will stay there. It's not perfect, but apparently it's not perfect. I didn't like that I was running it and I didn't stop it. So I stopped it. It's going to settle down, and then we can run it. And it still doesn't like it. Alright, now it's running. And so what do you want to do? Let's load. Player loaded. They pick shield. Now it said, what do you want to do? Load or shield. Now, in this situation, we know the player is loaded, and player loaded should equal 1. So if it's equal to 1, it should say shoot or shield, which it doesn't, which creates a problem because player loaded equals 1. Oh. I just issue with player loaded equals 0. Even if I turn it to 1, when it comes back and loops up here, that's in the while. I'm going to Control X and get that out of there and put it up here. So it's going to start loaded, and the same thing has to happen with the computer, or else it will always be at 0 before it checks it. Now I think we are in a better situation. And let's run this. What do we want to do? Load or shield? Let player loaded. Now we get to shoot or shield. So we can shoot, and the computer loaded. So that's working out. Let's now we shot, so we would have won, but let's do shield, and now the computer could shoot. So the program is working up to this point.